Hey everyone, Kate here from A Little Life Creative. Welcome to today's chat about all things business, branding and social media with the delightful Emma Jade from Brisbane in Australia. Emma's a wonderful friend of mine. She is a fellow awesome music lover, which you will find out more about at the end of the chat. And she just so happens to also be a super talented wedding, brand and baby photographer. Yeah, look, I really think you'll enjoy our conversation today. Emma is one of those incredible people. She's always had a clear idea about the brand of her business, and the way she's developed that over the years, it's really helped her attract the kind of clients that she loves. So I'm guessing that might be something that you might want to do too. So let's jump in and see what Emma has to share with us. Welcome! That's so exciting. Look at us getting this technology happening. You're not actually that far away, dude. If I look out the window, I can almost see your house.
We probably would have passed on our walk this morning to go walking.
I did not. I didn't want to walk in a mask, actually. I was being a tanty thrower. But for those of you watching, we are both in Brisbane in Australia, and we are on COVID lockdown today. So I don't even know what month. It's January, right? January 2021. So how are you enjoying lockdown?
I'm glad it's over tonight.
I get the vibe that you are not a fan of being locked down. Is this correct?
I hate it.
I know, I can see in your messages. So this is the very first of my A Little Life Creative interviews. So yay, thanks for being popping the cherry. It's very exciting. So.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Okay, you were first on the list, love. So there's lots I want to talk to you about. The new business is all marketing and branding and helping people, particularly photographers, but other brands as well, with their marketing and their branding and how to attract the clients that they like. So I know that you do that because I watch you. I see what you're doing. So first up, let's talk about how we met. Because I can't remember. Do you remember?
No.
This is the love story.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
It would have to be like 4 years over, I'd reckon.
My first recollection is all I knew of you was that you liked good music. And I don't know how I knew this. I must have just stalked you and liked your music. And for the followers at home, I go to a heap of live gigs, and I had a spare ticket one night. One of my besties pulled out and I had a spare ticket to a band called Boo Seeker. It was Boo Seeker, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just randomly was like, who do I know that likes cool music, cool Aussie music? And so I messaged you and you were like, yeah, it's coming. So that was my first recollection of our adventures together. What I do remember about that day, though, was that I didn't know you were pregnant. So
I didn't bring my ID because I don't know what I was thinking. I obviously hadn't been out in so long, and they're like, did you bring your ID? I'm like, no. I'm like, well, I have to go past home. Yeah, 28.
Right. So we're like slammed in this mosh pit. I know I'm too old for this, folks. I'm nearly 40, but never giving up in the live music. And we're like jammed tight in this mosh pit. We were standing for hours, even through the support act. And then you're like, oh, P.S., I'm 20 weeks pregnant. I'm like, what? What are you doing here? Like, respect. I was very impressed. Were you tired?
The next day I was really tired.
So that was Bowie. So you've got 2 kids, yeah.
Boys? Yeah. Ezra's 6 and Bowie is 3 next month. So, they are a big part of my why and why I do what I do and try and work around the hours that I do. So my number one goal would be to pick them up from school, and that's what I've been able to achieve, even though I don't have a lot of balance. Mm-hmm. That is my why. They get to come along for the ride and see all these pretty cool places that I go to, which is a big perk for me, and that's what my goal was, is that they could come around and Matt comes with me and looks after them, and then we can do family things the next day or the day before.
There will be no shortage of footage of your little boys and their journey through childhood, right? Because they get to feature, which is awesome. And they're bloody gorgeous too. So there's that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of photos that I have, like the other day, I was just like, oh, I'll just take a couple of photos, like 300 photos later. I'm like, oh, wow.
We'll post a few photos of the boys in the campaigns that you include them.
Yeah.
You shoot just a lot for fun with them too, hey, which I don't do a lot anymore with my kids.
Yeah. Yeah, like up until like after wedding season finished, I've been able to shoot them a lot more, but during wedding season I don't normally shoot them. I'm just too busy, but I do try and shoot them at least once a week if I can.
Oh, okay. My children are traumatized from early years as a photographer's child, so I don't know how that goes. Let's skip back and just talk a bit about your business. So you are a wedding photographer, yeah, which you just told us. What else do you do?
I do a lot of content for a few brands, and now I've really honed in and just work with a few select brands, and that is like an ongoing work that I do for them. So throughout like summer, winter, so for their campaigns. So I now just work for them solely, and I don't actually search for anything else. I'm just quite content doing what I'm doing, and that in itself is a huge job. Like that's weeks of shooting for one campaign, and then they normally all arrive at the one time because they all want to launch summer, they all want to launch winter. So between that and weddings, and I fill in my weeks with a couple of families and a couple of newborn shoots, and that's me in a wrap. How long have I been shooting weddings for?
Oh, just your business, really? When did you sort of officially
I started back like having fun in 2013, so a while now. Mm-hmm. And my dad is actually a photographer, and he does a lot of landscapes, and so I actually started borrowing his gear, and then he was like, I kind of need my gear, like as in a hint, can you please give it back? So that's when I started, and I was like, okay, so each job I did, I invested that money back into my camera gear, my equipment, and then I just built up my gear from then. And I just and then like I had Ezra, so I took a little bit of time off. And then actually I think you guys did the first prop fair. Maybe.
I don't know when that was.
And
something like that.
That's when I really started to get into it. Like I feel like when you have mentoring and when you see other people and you connect with like-minded people, you really establish where you want to go and what you want to do and your network. Yeah. So also props were a really big thing back then. Like props are huge. So I started with that, and then I've kind of just transitioned, and with my family and what has been happening in my home life, I've tried to transition where I want to go with my business and what I can and cannot do. So back, I think mainly 2016 is where weddings really kicked off for me. I really decided, and then in 2017, I did a lot of groundwork to build my wedding portfolio and go from there. And then in 2018, it kind of really took off for me. Yeah. So for 2 years, and then last year, even with everything that did happen, I still managed to do 19 weddings. So, which is pretty huge.
In a year when weddings basically do 2020, yeah.
Yeah, like we couldn't really shoot a wedding up here in Brisbane properly. Like brides were doing it here or there, but it wasn't really, most of my brides just wanted to wait. And because I shoot a lot of places, that really impacted my business last year. So I shoot a lot down in the Northern Rivers, and then I was meant to be shooting overseas. So that really took a toll on my business, because when you can't travel across the border, I couldn't go anywhere. But yeah.
Did you always brand your business Emma Jade Photography from the beginning?
I actually branded it Emma Jade Photography, and then I kind of rebranded without a rebrand, so to speak, and it's just Emma Jade.
Yeah.
So I just wanted my name.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you can speak confidently about your name and your business and your brand, then you can sell yourself. So just say, for example, your business is like Scissor and Co. And you're like, okay, what do you do for a living? Oh, Scissor and Co. Like you're not really selling your business. But if you love your business name and be like, oh, hi, I'm Emma Jade, like you speak with confidence, that means you kind of are more invested in your business and you have faith in your business. So if you don't love your business name, change it. Because you don't have to use your business name. Like you don't have to use your personal name. You can use whatever name that you like, but as long as you love it and that you can put 120% into your business, I think it will speak volumes for itself. So that is why. I have tried other business names and I didn't like it, so I just canned it.
So what I really wanted to talk to you about, or what I've noticed with a lot of people that are following along on my marketing program or my marketing channels, is that people really struggle to build a brand that comes from their heart. Okay, so a lot of people can take beautiful photos or create beautiful products, but the way that they then present that out into the world, it lacks maybe a bit of soul. And that's what I see in you and everything that you do. There's a real story to it. So can we go back as far as like when you were choosing colors and designing your website, building your brand from the very beginning? How did you make those big decisions?
So every color choice that I use in palette and starting with my website all comes down to personal preference and my colors that speak to me. So I wouldn't go pick a blue font because I'm not a big fan of blue, where like mustards and beige and all of those tones, and it's actually slowly changing at the moment. So if you check back in a couple of weeks' time with my new website launch, it will have slightly changed a little bit. And I think that's as you get older or you find more of a niche and you're narrowing it down again, like you just really find the colors that really speak to you. So if you put up a color palette and then you say, okay, I like this color and this color and this color, and then draw it down from there. So really like pick colors that speak to you and that you love. Don't pick a color just because it's in fashion for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Pick colors that you really are attracted to, because that again will show emotion and how to get the clients that really speak to you, I think. And it's all about your vibe attracts your tribe. So I'm all about that. So, and Instagram is great for that because you can put a story and then you can select your music. So I only put up music that I like. I'm not going to put up, I don't know.
Pick a song you hate. Yeah.
Some kind of poppy song.
Yeah.
Say like, I don't know, something that's really pop culture right now. I'm not going to put that up because that doesn't speak to me. Yeah. I'll probably put up something like, I don't know, I like the waves at the moment. And then, so yeah, put up music that really speaks to you. It doesn't have to be what is on trend for other people. It's what is speaking to you right now. And I think that will really help develop and attract those people that you're trying to attract. And then you start to make well with clients.
Does it have a lot to do with the colors of your imagery though? Because I find for some people, imagine you shoot very similar. So Emma's style, followers along, is very, your boho, I guess is the way to describe, right? Neutral organics, terracotta-y kind of colors. You've got the look today, you know, but I find other photographers are maybe shooting just every color of the rainbow, or maybe not choosing a color that comes from their photos. So some people will be shooting newborns, which are like pastels, and then they choose like bright orange as their logo color because they love it because that's their favorite color. Like, so maybe is it not always what comes from, it's a balance of what comes from your heart, but also what you're presenting to the world with your work maybe, or...
I couldn't agree more. Balance. Like, you know, sometimes I do like another color and I'm like, oh no, like that's too far out. Like my And I even would like to draw it in even more than what I'm doing. But you also want to have a little bit of contrast on your page. So you don't want it like, but I do agree with you, like pastels and then a bright orange, like they just don't complement each other. Like one's really bold and bright and then the other's like soft and
So you
like
must
calming. And
photos, right, that are colours that don't suit your brand. Do you just not include them in your marketing?
no, never.
But they
Not
exist,
anymore.
right? You shoot a wedding with the bride with the red dress. What you going to do?
I actually don't get any clients like that anymore. I mean, in the very early stages of my first year of launching, of saying like, yeah, I want to be a wedding photographer. There was once this wedding with a lady with hot pink tips in the bottom of her hair. And I remember walking in and I'm like, shoot the wedding, like you've been paid to do a job, but you don't need to post it. Like you don't need to show.
Yeah. So you didn't include her, or what, just the bare minimum? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember shooting like some like green grassy bits and some portraits in black and white where you couldn't like.
She's only black and white on her Instagram. But you don't have to. It's an important lesson, right? You don't have to post every single thing. When I was working full time, I basically just posted sneak peeks every day, and that is important. And I do tell people to do that, but you don't have to if you're trying to build a brand. Maybe.
No way. Okay. I think I shot 90 sessions. That was including my weddings last year. And I barely showcased any of it. I only now showcase a little bit here and there, and that gets me enough traction to keep going. Wow. However, I am building a new website right now, and so I am putting all those pieces that I shot last year into my journal and writing a story about each and every piece that I did. I remember first doing a lot of a couple of style shoots, and I actually now call these editorial pieces. So if I want to try a new particular look or bring in a new look, I always go and or hire a model or hire someone or find the model that is right for me and then start posting that out. And then that will bring in all the people that we're trying to draw into.
What I've been doing lately is talking to people a lot about value. So value, what they're giving to people on social media. And I've been trying to talk to people a lot about how boring their Instagram and Facebooks are. And I'm no innocent, right? I did this too. Baby photo, baby photo, baby photo, nothing else in between. What I love about what you do a lot is Instagram stories. So that's something that we need to talk about. But what you share on your Instagram stories and maybe on your feed, although your feed's mainly photos, isn't it? Do you post many quotes and cutesy things on your feed, or?
I don't, but I do post a photo of myself every now and again, and I do caption it. Or I might post a picture of just like a sunset occasionally. I tend not to do it mainly pure because of time. I was like, I haven't posted in a while. I should post something meaningful and write something beautiful. But I do post a photo of myself, and I will explain, like, for all my new followers, because you get new followers all the time. They don't know your backstory. They only see what you're posting from here on in. I think it's really important to keep that in mind. Like, keep your old followers that you've had with you entertained and, like, keep them on board. But also don't forget about these new followers, like, that don't know your history and don't know your story, or, you know, put a photo up of yourself so they know who they're going to walk into when you see them. Yeah. I also send a photo now usually of myself to a client. Like, if I'm meeting them at a really popular spot, like say in the city, I'm like, hey, this is what I look like, and I'll be wearing a black jumpsuit. So it's not so awkward for them. Like, when you walk up to them, like, hi, how you going? Like, I'm Emma, like, if you haven't met them before. So, you know, that really facial recognition, I think, is really important. Stories, I actually now post a bit of home life and a lot of business, and then some other things that really speak to me during the time of the day or how I'm feeling. So
And how do you choose?
if I, what was that? Sorry.
How do you choose that stuff? I see you posting quotes and ideas and all that kind of thing that suit your brand, or where does that come from?
It's really how I'm feeling. Like, it's probably more a professional way of sharing something like that, and that's the connection of how I'm feeling or what I'm feeling or that my values. And then I get a lot of response back from that. Like my clients that have done things in the past are like, oh, that's how I'm feeling too. So, you know, you're keeping good relationships like with your old clients too. Like they could be a friend. So it's just, I think it's a way that it's really beautifully said. Even you could be having a really bad day and be like, tomorrow's a new day. It could be a quote about tomorrow being a new day, or, you know, something like that. And then people just like that. They like you being authentic to a certain degree. Like there's a fun,
yeah. How much are you going
I
to
think there is,
share that day?
I think there's a fine line where people like to see where you're at, and then it gets to, if you're really taking it too far and just being really negative or really opinionated, then it just is too much. Like, you got to remember, at the end of the day, it still is a business, and you want to be you, but you also just don't want to, I don't know. Some things are best left unsaid, and some things are best left private too. Like, you can still have your, I don't share everything that happens in my private life on social media. In actual fact, I made my other account, which I used to share a lot of my life with the boys, private, and I haven't posted there for ages. So there's some things best left private, and some other things I'm grateful to share. Like this morning, we went for a bit of a walk and a bike ride up to the BMX track, and I did post a couple of stories of my kids riding bikes because that is my life.
Yes. Quotes and the key things that you share, do you follow certain hashtags, or there's accounts that you follow that you know that speak the same language as you or have the same, you know, spirit, and that's where you get a lot of your content? You just reshare a lot of those into your stories? Or
a lot of them are from people that I value myself and I really like where they are at or on their journey. So they are normally books that I have read or quote books that I have bought. And then I actually just go and find them on Instagram, and then it pops up in my like frequently viewed spots. And I normally just scroll, and it could be like with how I'm feeling, like, you know, it could be an amazing feeling, and then next minute it pops up. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll flick that, I'll share that. Like, someone else might benefit from that as well. Like someone else might do read that for that day. So
how important are your stories for your brand? How often are you using stories? Would you have the same brand, do you think, if you were just posting in your feed? I know you use stories like every day, right? So
I try and not let my stories expire. So like, you get 24 hours per story. I try and keep something on my stories every 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I think it gives your brand soul, and it lets people communicate with you. And I think a lot of the people that I now shoot, we all have the same values. So we all share something that we love. So I don't have a problem with talking to my clients then. Like, we all have some kind of something in common. I remember a shoot I did a couple of weeks ago. I looked down at the clock and I'm like, I am leaving. Like, I have been here for way too long. I've probably taken 2 photos of your newborn and your family and did a film. I'm like, I'm going to let you people go nap. Like, she's like, oh, you don't have to say, do you want a coffee? Do you want a tea? Like, we just could have, it was like we had known each other for years. So I think when you communicate with your stories and you're really active on social media and you put your face and your brand, then you're going to really attract those clients.
we always talk about how photography is a relationship business, and it's a big investment for people, right? So, you know, they're dropping $1,000 up to $5,000, whatever it is for weddings, double that. It's a massive investment for people, and people don't want to invest in people they don't know. So by sharing your face and sharing your boys and sharing your spirit, people are like, oh, I like that girl, you know, or I feel like I know her already. So is that what you feel like you get when you meet clients? Or
Definitely. And it even goes like, I can be so busy, like run off my feet, and I do a lot of traveling. So sometimes my phone goes off all the time. If I see a bride message me or a newborn client message me, I'm like, oh yeah, I've recognized your message. I'm here, but I'm driving, or I'm like just stopped, or I'm really busy, or I'm off to a shoot. Just let them know that you're off to a shoot. They will value that more than you ignoring them for like 24 hours. Like, I know you're really busy, like, and be like, oh, hey, like, I'm really busy right now, but I'll get back to you tonight, or I'll get back to you first thing in the morning. And they value that. So I think that also helps. And especially when you're dropping, like, just say someone just paid you $7,000 for your wedding, and then you don't answer for 24 hours. Like, how would you feel if that was you? So I always try and be like, oh, how would I feel if that was me? So to kind of reverse it back and ask yourself, how would you feel if that happened?
Just booked this amazing caterer for my mum's 80th. So we booked a high tea in her house. And it was beautiful, but the lady's customer service was really scary, as in wouldn't reply to emails, and she had not posted on her Instagram since August of last year. And particularly because of COVID, I was just like, is she even going to turn up on the day? Even on the day, an hour before the event, we had a house full of people, and I was like, please turn up, because otherwise we're doing KFC buckets for Mum's 80th. But it was not good, you know, it wasn't cool. So, but she was a darling, and thank you if you're watching, because it was a beautiful day. But I wanted to ask you about Instagram story, or Instagram in general, features. Is there anything specifically that you like to use, or that you find gets you good engagement or interaction? Polls.
Honestly, this changes weekly. Oh, it drives me insane. I feel Instagram changes all the time, and you just kind of have to do your thing. And if you find something that works for a while, do that. And I actually find not posting every day is really good. I actually find as soon as you drop off from stories, that really affects my engagement. And I would prefer my number on my stories to go up than the number on my photo likes, because people message me from stories.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, actually, I've been meaning to message you about family photos because I've seen something.
Isn't it, on stories? I think all the stats came out from Instagram and Facebook at the end of 2020. They do their big wrap up, and people are watching stories equally as much as they're scrolling through feed, and the engagement from stories is amazing, because it's just intuitive and easy, isn't it, just to flick and to comment so easily, as opposed to going onto someone's photo. And the likes are irrelevant. You're always sending me emojis, man. If you like anything, like heart eyes, yeah. It's great though. So do you get a lot of inquiries from your stories? You do, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. And then I normally just flick them my website and go from there.
Okay, Facebook and social scheduling. Tell me what you do here. Do you schedule your posts, and what do you use? And do you still use Facebook much?
I don't use Facebook very much at all anymore, as if people stalk me on Facebook. I will post, I don't know, occasionally I'll go in and post like maybe once a week. And I don't normally schedule.
You don't link, you don't run like a scheduler and automatically send the same posts between the two?
No. So what I post on Instagram is completely different to what I post on Facebook. I have two completely different, I guess, because Facebook's been around for a lot longer than Instagram. And I feel like Instagram, like everyone just goes to Instagram. But to be honest, I am working on my website and I'm working on blogs, and that's all actually being changed today. So there'll be a new website launch very soon with that. It's just being a work in progress. So I actually think you are better off spending more time maybe on your website and making sure it's not too clicky, like in that it's mobile friendly. But yeah, still keep up your posts on Facebook. Like, I don't think you should diss that at all, because a lot of people still use that. But I just only post really good content, and I try now and make sure I have some kind of story with it. So, but that also takes time. So,
do you think it's demographic based? I just know from all of the stats that came out from Instagram and Facebook last year, they're talking like, I've written it in a post, I can't remember exactly, but, you know, certain age groups aren't using Facebook at all anymore. Like, you know, under 24s or whatever. I just always think of my niece, who's, I think she's 24. And I don't think I've seen her on Facebook ever. She's got an account, but she doesn't do anything. And as we age, our clients don't age, if you know what I mean. So your wedding clients and your baby clients are still in that younger age bracket. So even though us and all of our friends, we're not as old as me, but we are kicking on a bit with Facebook, maybe, some of us oldies, our clients aren't. So is that the case, do you think? Or?
Yes, 100%. And also, I'm about to switch my messages off on my Facebook, because I don't know what has happened, but they intertwine your Facebook messages and your Instagram messages. And because I get so many Instagram messages, they all just get pushed down on Facebook, and I can't see what I haven't answered and what I have answered. So I'm just going to do like a blanket, like auto response, like, please email me, and I'm going to trial that and see how that goes. Like, please do not wait for a response on here, because it's not monitored anymore. I actually think Facebook might, 5 years time, I don't know where Facebook will be.
I don't know either. What about Pinterest? Are you a Pinterester with your client work? Or your...
No.
Yeah,
I don't think I have. I do know Pinterest was a bit down the bottom, and I think now it is really big because of Instagram is so big on your posts, and it's so visually orientated, where Facebook's not like that. So I know Pinterest is kind of like moving its way up, and it will be linked with my new website, so it'll all be there. For something flying around here.
Where do you live? I know what suburb you live in. It's a little bit country. There's some farms out the windows, but all right. So this is what I think people might find hard, and maybe you didn't find it as hard because you already have a vibe about you, right? And like, there's things that you're passionate about. Like, I'm just sort of like suburban, norm brand, like just bland. Call myself bland, that's me. Not bland. Not bland. All I'm saying is, when I was running my photography business, I found it hard to find a point of difference and brand my business in a way that was authentic. I was good at writing, so I could talk the talk, but I didn't have colours or things that were really specific to me. So what can people do? Can you fake that, and can you fake it till you make it, do you think? Does that make sense?
You can fake it, make it. I think I told me that at like one of the prop fairs. They're like, fake it till you make it. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I still think though, like, you can fake it till you make it, but you still have to be authentic to yourself. So if you don't like that kind of boho natural kind of life, then don't be that, because you're still not being authentic to you. But you could, be into something else and you're not fully into it, but you could showcase some of that, and it could just be a piece of what you like. So I think that really helps. And I think once you start at the bottom and writing your ideas down and what you like, and then drawing it in from there. So I don't know, I really like raw materials, and I'm not really into plastic and things like that. So I really try and, and that's again with Instagram. Like, I wouldn't go posting something that doesn't speak to me. So I guess, like, I work for Bear and Boho, for instance, and she is a vegan ethical brand, and I love her brand and what it brings. So, and we connect really well because we're both into the same kind of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you could post what you like.
Well, it might even just work if it's like colours. It may not be that you're trying to attract a certain type of person, but it might just be you're trying to attract people who like the look of your photos if you shoot bright and airy. Like, your editing is different, but I'm just saying maybe for clients that are, really bright and shoot lots of pinks and up their curves and all of that, their highlights, maybe that's how they brand. Maybe, I know, to try and brand, but I always think of, do you remember when Vera Blue, this is another Aussie singer, back to the music, she released an album called Perennial, right, which is flower related. And so her branding from then on, everywhere she went, she was Insta-storying herself taking photos of flowers. And she may not even be like a massive flower lover, but she built a brand and a story around loving that. And her music and the stories and the picture and everything, it just built a story that was beautiful and then attracted the right kind of listeners, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like people are going to find this hard. So
yeah, I think, like, I just really hone in on the things that really talk to me. Like, just say, for example, I see a range of colors. So if you jump on Pinterest and put like mood board, you'll get a whole different lots of like colors. And I think if you really look at like a whole section of those and be like, okay, I love those 9 colors on that swatch, or even go to Bunnings to the paint section and like look at the paint colors and then create your mood board with those. Like, take a handful of them. Like, they'll have no idea. I remember at one stage I had a whole heap on my desk and I'm like, that's my inspiration for this. And it kind of just like, spoke to me that way.
So you're not just a photographer, right? Are you teaching this year or mentoring?
I am. I did a little bit towards the end of last year, and I am about to launch some new things this year. It's been really hard to try and book a venue or a place, and I actually prefer to do one-on-one rather than online because you really get to speak to who you're mentoring. So I did have a place lined up at Sunny Coast, but I had to cancel my booking and cancel my plan with that because of COVID, and it was really hard to rebook all of that in. So I did do an online course and it's almost ready, but you also get Skype meetings with it. So that one-on-one chat where you can ask me questions, because I feel like that is all a part of mentoring, is being able to ask the questions that you're struggling with, or pick up the phone and be like, I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me quickly? And like, that's what I've allowed into my courses.
And what's your
exciting?
Yay. What are you teaching?
I'm teaching more about film, like, and putting it together, and also doing an underwater camera course. So that is pretty exciting.
So you've got to swim.
Yeah, you got to be able to swim.
Oh, that's cool.
So
tell us. Yeah, please don't turn up if you can't swim. Tell us about your camera straps, because that's something super exciting that you did. Again, totally on brand. And the photo of you on the motorbike, lady. Just saying. You are your own model and you did it beautifully. Tell me about the straps. How did that happen and the story of the brand?
So the camera straps didn't start as camera straps. They actually started as those style sliders that I have, and I actually think they're sold out, which I reordered this morning. But it all started with being able to shoot a wedding, and I had nothing that I could put my spare cards and my spare batteries in. Like, I could use my pockets, but they're not very reliable. So I designed these bags, and they were like 2 years in the making. Like, I have had this planned for a very long time. And so then I launched those, and then with the straps, I wanted something that was leather, that was a little bit padded, didn't have anything else, but was like reliable at the same time. So then I asked my manufacturer if he could make me something. Like, I sent him these pieces of paper with some random messages.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you make me something like this? And he's like, do you have any other pictures? And I'm like, no, like, I don't. So we just went to from there.
Yes, that's the
and the name of the brand is 1919. So this comes down to marketing and being able to be a brand yourself. So 1919 is the year that my nan was born in. And my nan is a huge part of my life, and she's like my muse, and I love taking photos of her. So I wanted to make something special, and I called it 1919. So that goes back to branding as well. So I think it's really important that you write your shortlist out. You have businesses that really are what you love. And if you can't say it with pride or with confidence, then it's not the right name. So that's how I chose 1919.
For all of the followers, I will place some links somewhere wherever this is going to be viewed so that you'll be able to check out. Do you want to just do a quick shout out to all of your socials and that kind of thing? Where can they find you?
I would love to. So you can find me just at Emma Jade Photographer on Instagram. And I love it when people come and send me a message and say, hey, like, so don't be afraid to come slide into my DM box and say hello. I do really love it. I get back to everyone. So, or if you see me around and about, I am always up for a chat, coffee or wine.
My partner sees your car everywhere. I've sent you these photos, and it's like so funny because you travel interstate into the northern rivers of New South Wales, and so does he. I think 3 times, because you're both coffee obsessed, right? And so I think 3 times now he sent me a photo being like, I'm in Lismore, and look whose car is at the car park. And I'm like, go and say hello to her. Just go and say hi. And he's like, I can't. She'll think that I'm following her. Like, whatever. But you guys are the same coffee frequency. Okay, so let's talk music and mental health, because at the end of all of my interviews, I have asked all of my delightful interviewees to provide me with their 10 favourite, I don't know if motivational songs, but songs that inspire them. And we're going to be sharing Spotify playlists. So music is super important to me, has helped me through some crazy times in my life, and just generally helps me on a day-to-day basis. Walking, tunes pumping. I'm talking a lot about mental health on my platform this year because I'm really, really not into people drowning in their businesses. So I'm really into helping people grow their businesses, but not at the expense of their mental health. So I know that you are on that train as well. Even though it's hard, the balance is not easy, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, balance is.
Don't do it.
At the end of the last year, non-existent.
Yeah, but that's
music is huge. So I'm like you, Kate, and I listen to music all the time. In the morning, in the car, like wherever I'm going, I really love music. So yeah, I find it really important. And most of my stories on Instagram have backing with music. Yeah. So I did choose a playlist, which was really hard, by the way.
I know, 10 is
10 songs.
tell us about just a couple of your favourites on there, and I'll post the links so people can find them all. But what's on your list?
So I've got quite the variety of music on there. I find different moods and different times of my day, and depends what I'm shooting, or I have different playlists for each. So for example, I actually did a birth the other morning. So on my way, I actually had like more chilled music because I wanted to be nice and relaxed and calm, walking into that kind of environment where if I was shooting a wedding, I'd love some Hilltop Hoods on my way to my wedding, like pump me up. So,
okay. Is there a favourite song on your list?
If I had to listen to like one kind of genre or one kind of song on repeat for a while, it probably would be that Hilltop Hoods song, and it's the reorchestrated one. So it's just a little bit of a different vibe, and I just love them. I've loved them for a long time. And that again goes back to where I met Matt. So yeah.
Nice, good story. I'll make sure that everyone can find your list. If you want to give Emma some feedback on her music, please do tell us what you think. Each to their own, right? But it's really cool. I think it's going to be really cool for people to see the music that's inspiring others with their business. So, lady, you have rocked it today. Thank you so much. It's
Thank you for having me.
It's been wonderful, and I've really loved watching your brand develop, and I find it really exciting to see somebody that's really clear with their brand, and as a result, through some bloody hard work, I know how hard you work, but the rewards are returned, right? And it's returned in a way that you are getting the work that you want, and that's what I really hope that other people will be able to emulate in their own way. So.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I think even like chatting to other like-minded businesses or photographers, you will be able to establish like those kind of connections as well, and like what you really love and what you don't. And you can love other photographers' work. Like, just, I follow a lot of photographers, and you don't have to be a snob about it or think that you're better than anyone else. Like, communicate with them, say hi, say that you love their image. Like, if it's a good image and you love it, don't be jealous. Like, say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, you know, they will be just as speechless from your comment. Like, we're all in this together, and there's plenty of work for everyone. So keep that in mind as well. So yeah, you see someone else's work, be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, and then you could be a friend. Like, that's all it could take. You could start chatting and have so much in common, and you could bounce ideas back, and that's just how
you're mosh pit with them at the Tivoli in Brisbane. Yeah. Next minute you get calls with tickets to free concerts. Well, I'm going to hook you up soon. As soon as we're out of COVID lockdown, lady, let's head down to Blues Fest or something. My birthday is on Blues Fest Saturday, I think.
Is it?
So, I don't know.
Is it going ahead?
I'm too scared to buy tickets. I don't know. So, all right, love.
Yeah.
Love your work. You're amazing.
Right.
Thank you. Catch you soon. Bye. Thanks, Emma. It was so fabulous chatting with you. If you would like to get a better idea of Emma's branding, you can go and check her out on Instagram at Emma Jade Photographer. Same on Facebook, or her website is mjade, EMMJADE.com. Thanks for tuning in to A Little Chat with A Little Life. You can find us at alittlelife.com.au, helping you with all things for your busy business. I'm Kate. It's been really nice chatting with you. See you next time. Bye.